Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for joining me as always. In today's episode, we're going to be doing Parkway Drive in 10 minutes or less. Okay, so we're in Pro Tools and I had a riff idea earlier and I was like, this sounds a lot like Parkway Drive, and then that had me thinking, why don't I make a Parkway Drive episode? All right, so here's the riff. So that was my idea. So let's track that real quick. Okay, cool. So as you can see, I cut that riff up and threw it onto my guitar left and right tracks. And as always, we're using the Archetype Nolly plugin for all of my tones. So something Parkway Drive tends to do pretty often is the artificial harmonics, like that kind of thing. So I threw those in there with some chugs, and I also kind of did these kind of single note runs. So I'm thinking, before we go to drums, I kind of want to make a second riff that is similar to this but deviates slightly so we can have more of a lead kind of poke out. Just kind of thinking ahead, I want to do more chugs and I want to kind of have the drums maybe do something a tiny bit different. So let me see if I can figure something out for that. I think I figured something out. The riff goes something like this. So that's going to be our kind of full intro for guitars. I like that. Let's go to drums and try to see if we can't think of something. Okay, so I did make the kicks match, and I'm just going to add in the rest of the cymbals here real quick. I'm just thinking, just kind of like that. Cool. So it basically just follows the guitars. I think that sounds cool, and I think that sticks in the vein of Parkway Drive. On to the second half of the drums. So I was thinking I wanted to do halftime on the cymbals, and so this is what I came up with. I'm still following the riff pretty heavily with the triplets, with the kick and the snare, but I thought it'd be cool to kind of go halftime for a second with the cymbals, so this is what I came up with. All right, let's jump back to the guitars. I'm hearing some kind of lead harmony. First try. There we go. That's it. That's the harmony. Let's record it. Boom. That sounds rad. I like that. So I'm still kind of hearing some other lead in there, and I'm kind of thinking of doing some kind of like descending, something like that. I feel like that's kind of Parkway Drive-esque. Let's just mess around. All right, so I think I came up with something. Alone, this is what this sounds like. And then at the very end, I decided to throw in some harmonics. And that's just on the 5th fret here, starting on G, going to D, and then going to A. Man, I really like those dual harmony guitars. I think it breaks up the riff really nicely. And for this demo, I really wanted to kind of go for more of the older style stuff with, you know, just the chuggy riffs, sort of in the vein of like Horizons and Atlas. So I don't just want the riff to just like start right in. Usually I really like to have like even if it's very small, just some kind of intro that leads you in. So I'm thinking of taking this lead part and using that and like lo-fiing it. Okay, I think that sounds pretty rad. So I added a wah on there. It's called the fuzz wah, just the stock wah. Parkway Drive uses the wah pedal a lot in like the lead stuff. And so I thought that was a good little time to put that there, just for the intro. So I feel like this needs something else. I guess obviously bass, we haven't done bass yet, so let me knock the bass out of the way. Okay, cool, so there's our bass. Now I'm thinking one last thing I wanna add, just to make it as Parkway Drive as possible. So Parkway Drive, in specifically the song Crushed, if you guys have heard of that song before, it has what's known as Mongolian throat singing. So let me go on Splice and see if I can't find something that sounds like that. That's exactly what I'm looking for. Let's drag that in. Okay, so I pulled this sample in. I also pulled in some explosions, obviously. So I added some effects onto this singing and I kind of chopped it up. Sounds pretty rad. So I added a pitch block and I'm tuning it down an entire octave, and I have the mix set at about like 30 or 40%. So just adding a little bit of beef. And then I have a compressor just to bring up the level because it was kind of a quiet sample. And then I have an EQ that's pulling a lot of the lows up and then taking out some of the highs. I have a talk box that's kind of making it kind of wave in and out. And then I just have some basic reverb that is making it sound kind of far away. All right, so I think I'm gonna call it on the riff for today, but I'm feeling really good about it. I am gonna be doing a part 2 that's gonna come out next week, so make sure you hit subscribe and stay tuned for that. Let's take a listen. All right, that's going to be a wrap on the video for today. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to leave a like, hit subscribe, and leave a comment to let me know what I should do next. I'll see you next time.